Everywhere I turn, there are companies and organizations going out of their way to increase the value they bring to their clients and customers and their teams. And one organization that is just doing a heroic job of this is an organization I've been affiliated with for a long, long time. TEC Canada. TEC is the executive committee. They are headquartered in Calgary, Alberta, and we say hello to Ruth-Anne Marley. Ruth-Anne is the speaker program specialist. She coordinates all of the speaker programs that TEC executives and business leaders enjoy. And Ruth-Anne, since very, very early on in the pandemic, you have been leading a daily charge Monday to Friday with a webinar series. First of all, tell us a little bit about the story behind the webinar series, the thinking that went into it, and the idea to, hey, let's expand this just beyond our TEC Canada membership.
Well, sure. It actually starts almost 2 years ago when I joined TEC. I came from a university background where I was coordinating continuing medical education. And one of the reasons I got hired was because I did a significant amount of stuff online. And so when I brought that to TEC and I said, we should be doing webinars, let's bring in some of the top experts and let's present this to our membership as a national offering, not just, individual group presentations. And so Todd Miller said, yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. So it started off with one. And I had Dr. Peter Anderson, who does the Anderson Report, do an economic update. And then I scheduled a second economic update. And then wham, COVID-19 hit. And Todd said to me, Ruth-Anne, these webinars, they have to be daily.
Whoa, wait a second. And I want people to feel the impact of this. It's like, we're going to get into webinars, and then boom, we're doing them every day. Is that basically, is that how we communicate the urgency of this, Ruth-Anne?
Yep. And Todd will I jokingly called him President Pants on Fire because everything was right now. And so you take your deep breath, you take your pulse, and you go, okay, where's my sheet? Who can I get? But most importantly, who's relevant right now? What are people needing? And setting up the week so that I had people blocked in that were now accessible, that weren't previously accessible, but wanted to help our members. Key thought leaders that themselves found themselves adrift and afloat and said, yeah, I want to help. Well, how can I do this? Absolutely, slot me in, I'm there. And so quicker than anything, I was able to fill up 2 weeks at a time, and now I'm booked solid till mid-June every day.
And just for anyone watching this, just so you know, like TEC Canada is a national organization. There are local chairs at every level, and inside each group, there's about 15 or 16 members, give or take. And these are monthly meetings where everyone's kind of huddled together. It's a peer advisory group, but they do bring in experts. Now, in this case, Ruth-Anne, you're bringing in experts from all over North America in this.
And the UK.
And the UK.
Yeah.
And now you're bringing in these experts, like I say, from all over the world, basically, and you're offering this content. And what I'm so fascinated by, and why so looking forward to having you on, is basically you're at the hub. You're curating all of this content from leading authorities, global experts, people who are really ahead of the curve. What are you seeing already, Ruth-Anne, in terms of trends, ideas? Anyone watching could really latch onto.
It's very interesting. I've got a speaker coming up this week, and he's a young CEO, PhD, one of those top under 40, rock stars. And what he's been doing is he's trending data on what millennials are thinking, watching, purchasing. He's been monitoring all this big data. And I had a conversation with him and I said, David, this sounds like, we're flying an airplane in the fog and the landscape has changed below because of the flood. So this is going to help the pilot navigate in terms of how to prepare for when you land on this new landscape. What are people buying? What are the attitudes that are out there? So this is really what I'm seeing now is people are wanting to know what has changed, what will be different, how will my company have to react and change? What are the lessons that I'm taking from the crisis and my pivoting that I'm going to transition into May-June timeframe and beyond?
And so is there I can't help but ask for, you know, if is there one big idea that you see repeated over and over and over again, Ruth-Anne, from different experts from different parts of the world, that any small to medium-sized business really has to pay attention to?
I think that the key is that when this all happened, all of the walls fell down about this is how we do things and this is our process. Everyone now is looking at a very pivotal process. I don't know if that's the right word, but people are learning to pivot and to be much more flexible and meeting much more regularly to look at the what ifs, to really be able to be, you know, I know the word nimble has been used, but large companies are having to redefine what nimble means in their world. And some small companies who you think should be very nimble are suddenly going, the walls fell down and this is where I'm at. So nimble, pivoting, being able to move quickly and change course is really what people are looking at right now. How do I do that?
Yeah, I kind of refer to it now as we got to build a brand new airplane while it's flying in the air and hope we don't crash the thing. There's been so many great speakers that are part of your program, Ruth-Anne. Ryan Walter, a Stanley Cup champion from the Montreal Canadiens, a TEC Canada Speaker of the Year. Jim Harris was on not too long ago, an expert in disruptive innovation. I just like to hear from you, again, for anyone who's watching and wants to know more about what TEC Canada is actually doing as a leader in helping business leadership stay very much on the front edge. Are there any other speakers that people should be paying attention to? Go back to your website, go back to your YouTube channel and listen to.
Definitely. I can't tell you the high quality individuals that have come on. Today, I'll start with the most recent today. I had Craig Weber on, and Craig Weber does an amazing presentation on conversational capacity. And if you don't understand how to be what he called operationalize your emotional intelligence through good conversations as a leader, then you are dead in the water. He had such sort of straightforward bullet points for people. So that's definitely one. And then yesterday, even I had Bruce Breyer. And Bruce Breyer's been a speaker for Vistage for almost 40 years. And Bruce has nailed down the concepts of what it means to be productive, efficient, and effective as a leader. And what are the strategies and the tools and the discipline that you need to be doing on a regular basis, not only for yourself, but to model for your teams. So those are just two this week. But going back into the past, if anyone wants to know about pricing, Paul Hunt is the pricing ninja. He is just amazing about how, you know, what to do. And he was just so bang on about, you know, everyone thought, oh, during this pandemic, we should drop our prices. We should offer things, you know, No, he talked about value and how important value was. And that's what you need to be selling to everybody right now. And along the lines of selling, I mean, Adrian Davis, we don't get better credibility than Adrian Davis and his storytelling abilities. Just outstanding.
Well, this is, you know, we could talk for a long time about all the great content. And all the great speakers that you and the programs that you're curating, Ruth-Anne. But what I think is, again, by the way, I will not get the image of Todd Miller pants on fire running around the office. That's in there. But I do want to commend you and the entire TEC Canada team for making the hard pivot yourselves, because there's a lot of moving parts with an organization that is in so many different you know, cities and towns across the country. You're working with so many chairs. It is like herding cats, and I know you're a dog person. So how do you herd a bunch of cats when you're a dog person, Ruth-Anne?
By pretty much the same technique. You got to put something out there that they want to eat and let them come to you in that. So, you know, offering the good sweet treats, and it's been really amazing from a tech perspective. Our chairs have been the real touch point for our members. But I'm seeing now with our members coming online with these national webinars, is I'm able to actually connect with some of these members as well. So we are developing that network, that you know, and you and I had a little conversation, that spider web, one connection leading to another. The vibration down the web is creating more and more vibration throughout our organization, so that people in tech are even more interconnected than we ever were, from staff to chairs to members to our leadership team, all over the place. It's amazing.
And I think that's a great point to finish up on, because what Ruth-Anne talked about, not just a spider web of connections, but in fact, a spider web of ideas, compelling ideas that actually make people stop and think. This is the time right now. If you're in business, what Ruth-Anne talked about being nimble, being able to pivot, build the airplane in the air without really knowing how it's going to land through the fog. This is something that I so applaud TEC Canada and people like Ruth-Anne Marley for being able to do, because in this very concrete fashion, in this forward-thinking fashion, they, like so many others, are demonstrating this is exactly how you can lead better together and emerge much stronger in these historic times.
Fantastic. Thank you, Gare. Really appreciate you reaching out to me, and I've enjoyed this. And you know, I had a conversation with a 71-year-old today by the name of Jack Daly. And Jack said, you know what, Ruth-Anne, I'm a lifelong learner. And I said, I'm in that club. I'm in that club.
Ruth-Anne, thanks again so much. And for everyone at TEC Canada, tell them to keep up the great work.
Will do. Thanks, Gare.
Bye-bye.